Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the TBM crew. Today, I'm here with Michael Eric Collins. Hello, how are you, Michael?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm okay here. I'm happy today with this weather. I'm so happy to have you here. Well, you have 4 books out, right?
Yeah, this year I've actually got a couple that have come out. Vera Malum and Dick Wiggler and Other Useless Superpowers.
Okay, you need to tell us about that one, please. Tell me what that.
So the story is really when Vera Malum came out, I got really inspired. And I wanted to do something funny, something
Yeah.
just kind of juvenile, because it is totally like teenage,
Yeah.
type of humor. And I decided, okay, well, if I want to do something silly, what would be a fun way to do it? And just ridiculous, useless superpowers that serve no good purpose. Just, it's a hilarious concept to me. So I figured, all right, we'll go with that. And it just kind of came out. And so now I've got this book about dick and fart jokes, basically, of these folks that are in just ridiculous circumstances with superpowers that help them not at all, but
Yeah.
somehow still manage to save the day.
Well, horror many times it's linked to humor. I mean, like all the horror from the 80s, like the Evil Dead and all of. I mean, it's all just fun. So it's cool that you
Oh,
have a book like that.
yeah, I think, with horror, sometimes you need to take a break.
Yeah.
It's fun to delve into all the darkness, but every once in a while you gotta step back and laugh a little bit. And you have folks like Jordan Peele. He started in comedy, yet he jumped into horror, and I think it kind of illustrates the relationship that the two have. They kind of balance each other out, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's true. You need a break from all that darkness. I also, as a reader, you jump to one thing maybe in the horror genre, but you also like to have a fresh love eventually, right?
Oh yeah,
And your other book, Verum Malum, it's very different. And I haven't read it, but reading about it, I really looking forward to do it because I think it's a very interesting book. Can you tell me a bit about it?
So Vera Malum, it started out as kind of a thought exercise dealing with like the devil and hell, and then also other dimensions, and because I'm kind of a science nerd, and
Okay.
quantum physics and things like that. And so I figured I'd try and combine the two.
Hmm.
And the story is essentially this couple have to deal with the main character's past, and he had been part of a satanic group. Well, they want to get him back into the fold,
Yeah.
and it winds up being kind of a one part like satanic panic sort of story, but then in the end there's an actual trip to this hell like place, and it plays with um, these ideas of like redemption
Mm.
and um, suddenly can't think of the word I'm looking for. Uh, uh, Guilt, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And but it also, the weird thing about this is and I didn't plan it this way. It turned into a love story, which is
Uh-huh.
not something I usually try and write. But the couple in the story, Noah
Yes.
and Ben, they really just kind of took over. And the story between the two of them, I'm even though I didn't plan it, I'm really proud of, because I think it it was just a fun thing to write, and then going back and rereading it, it was a lot of fun to read.
Mhm. Well, sometimes the things that just emerge in your mind when you're doing something, when you're drawing, when you're writing any kind of art, so to speak, sometimes it's what readers like the best because it's so natural. If not even you knew it was going to happen, imagine the reader.
Yeah, no, it definitely proves. Sometimes stories take over what you're trying to do, and you're just along for the ride.
Yeah. And did you have to make some research about demonology and all of that for that book?
Um, Not really. It's kind of a an interest of mine anyway. But
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of world building because um, trying to combine the two uh, kind of genres or thoughts. I was basically kind of building something a little different, but still
Yeah.
recognizable. Um, there was a little bit of research, I guess, more on like the science side, but again, that's just like the stuff I like to read on anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But uh, there is some things about this book I'd actually like to expand on
Mm-hmm.
and maybe do a sequel on, but we'll see. And
Yes.
that definitely would require a little more research. Yeah.
Because I was thinking that looking at the short story collection that you have, it seems that some of the stories also go around demons, hell, right? This kind of horror. So I thought maybe he's interested in these things, or I don't know. There's people that is very into demonology and all this kind of cults. So I found it interesting that you wrote about it. To me, it's the most the scariest kind of horror because you can't control demons. You can shot a zombie, but what do you do with a
Yeah,
demon, right? And is there any
exactly.
character that
That's a
yes? No, no, tell me.
yeah, yeah. Well, say what that actually sounds like a good title of a story. What do you do with the demon?
Yeah.
But no, but I attribute it to I went through kind of my what I call my demon phase, where it was just I
Yeah.
really like the metaphor. Like to me, it's scary. Like you said, what you can't really control the demon, so what can you do with it?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the metaphor of like demons and hell and the devil. I don't actually believe in it. It's not part of my faith, but as far as a metaphor
Mm-hmm.
and just playing around with it as a writer, it's fascinating to me. And I
Mm-hmm.
kind of went through a period where that was a lot of the writing that I did just
Ah.
happened to be, along that subject. And, I'm trying to move on, do other things, but still every once in a while I'll get a story idea going, I should explore a little more.
Yes, absolutely. I think that fascinates a lot of people. And even me drawing, I have drawn lots of demons, because it's a never-ending source of horror. You can imagine
Oh,
them,
yeah.
yeah, any way, and they can do anything, it's so I think well, like all the movies about possessions, and I think those are the ones that are most noisy, maybe somehow, so to speak. So I understand that people are fascinated by them.
Yeah, and I think in a lot of cases it's kind of that ultimate visual or ultimate like example of
Mhm.
evil. Like if we
Yeah.
were to really personify it, demons and like the devil, that's what we most ready on hand for like evil incarnate. So it makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah. And for how long have you been writing?
Well, I've been writing for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
Even in grade school, like the teacher would give you assignments, write a sentence about something, and I
Yes.
would write like 2, 3 pages just because I had something to say. But I've been publishing for about 8 years though.
Yeah.
Um, Finally decided that okay, it's time to do something about it, and so I finally started getting into indie publishing, self-publishing. Uh, do I do both? I enjoy doing both.
Hmm. And what's your experience if you compare the self-publishing with being through a press?
Um, I think with self-publishing, it can give you a lot of freedom
Hmm.
artistically.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want, and that's also kind of a drawback because sometimes you do need someone there to
Yeah.
help kind of tell you, hey, that's a dumb idea.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I enjoy self-publishing, and I enjoy working with like especially small presses. Like Vera Malum came out with Gloomhouse Press,
Yeah.
and it's been an amazing experience. I love Bloomhouse, and James is very dedicated to his writers.
Hmm.
And it's been a lot of fun. And even when I was with Black Bedsheet, it was a good experience. But having that freedom
Yeah.
to put out a book whenever you want, to be able to say, okay, well, I don't know if anyone's really going to get this idea, but I feel strongly enough about it that I'm just going to put it out anyway.
Yeah.
Plus, if you're like me and just a little bit of a control freak, it helps like take care of that too.
Yes, I guess that self-publishing is more for the creative, the ones that want to take over on how to give it exposure, or I don't know, to play with the book once it's out. And then there will be the writer that wants to just leave all of that for another person. So I guess that's the two perspective on that.
Yeah. And the only real downside I think with self-publishing is it can be a lot more work because it's all you.
Yeah.
And as far as the promotion and putting everything together, I mean, that can, even with, I mean, when it comes to working with small publishers, obviously you have work to do. I mean, you're still responsible for
Yeah.
uh, your own work, but it helps having that other person or that those other people behind you to really
Yes.
give you a hand. So it's kind of a good on one hand, it balances out really, I guess.
Hmm. And how do you think you have evolved as a writer?
I think that like anything, if you want to perfect your craft or get better at it, you pay attention to not only what other people are doing, but what you're doing. I
Mm-hmm.
know dealing with ideas, really trying to nurture them, get them to where you what you see in your head, it happens on the paper. I
Yeah.
think that's improved. Instead of just kind of laying it out and hoping people get it, I think I've been able to explain myself a little better.
Mm-hmm.
Plus editing and things like that, just a lot of
Yeah.
little things. Plus, for me, I think the biggest thing is actually on the promotion side too. I'm not really like used to dealing with promotion and being very social, and it's helped me a lot meeting some absolutely amazing people
Yeah.
and getting better at not only promoting myself but helping other writers.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing, especially right now with the horror community, we're coming together and we're becoming such a big family,
Hmm.
and I am loving it, and I'm so happy
Yes.
for it, and I'm glad to participate in it.
Hmm. The horror community is so embracing, and they are always game to help and to do anything for each other. You rarely see a problem between them, and that's an amazing thing, really, because even me, when I want to run something, I post something on Facebook, and a lot of people just jumps on board. It's
Yeah.
great. And how are your characters in the sense of, mm, do you mm, do you explore their personalities? Do you give a lot to the reader in that meaning, like that kind of writer that makes people care about their characters, and then we get upset to you when you kill them, or your characters are kind of quick, that they just jump around in the book?
Um, I've kind of played around a little bit on both ends of that. I
Hmm.
like making characters that people can really, you connect with them and you want to be with the character on that journey, but I don't want to make them so close that the character or I'm sorry, the reader
Yeah.
can't, I guess, flesh them out a little more on their own too. Like I want to
Yeah.
give them a little bit to where, you know, a book is for me anyway, a book is a conversation between you and the reader.
Yeah.
And in any conversation, you want the other person to be able to fill it in a little bit.
Hmm.
So I like writing characters that the reader can care about, but also they kind of build a little bit themselves, and that helps them get a little
Hmm.
closer to them, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm not one of those cruel bastards that just likes to kill characters off left and right, unless it's for the story. I know some people like okay, I'm going to get them now, but
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you just got to kill a character. It's just what happens.
Yes. If you had to give some advice to new authors, what would it be? What is the lesson you have learned or a mistake you would avoid in the past?
Probably, and I don't remember who said this. It might have been Neil Gaiman, but one of the biggest things that helped me after I've been writing for a little bit
Mhm.
was the first draft is you just telling yourself the story.
Okay, that's
That
a good one.
really helped me because then yeah, it was a great piece of advice because just get the ideas out. Don't worry about trying to make things perfect from the
Yeah.
beginning. It let me flow more organically. And I think that, especially if you're a new writer, just get those ideas out. You can
Mhm.
finesse everything else later and make it better, but don't don't hamper yourself from your creativity.
Hmm. Sometimes if we wait for the perfect moment, it never arrives in anything in life,
Exactly.
right? And linked to that, how do you, because sometimes I think that something that makes writers insecure or unconfident, if that's a word.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, thank you. Is that they can't deal very well with negativity.
Negativity. Negativity? Negativity.
I don't know how to pronounce that. That bad
I think you got
reviews
it. I
with
think you got
people complaining. Um, how do you process that? How do you deal with that?
it. When it comes to negativity, I'm the type like I get a bad review or something like that, or a critique online, I'll
Hmm.
obsess about it for about 30 minutes
Yeah,
and feel real bad, and then I'll just like, okay, that's done and moving on.
yeah,
And I think having some confidence in your writing, it can be difficult, especially if you're someone like me who confidence, like self-confidence, sometimes isn't always there.
hmm.
But just have faith in yourself, have faith in your writing, and sometimes people
Yeah.
just aren't going to dig it, and that's fine. You're writing for not for the people who don't like it. You're writing for the people who do like it, and
Hmm.
ultimately, you need to write for yourself. If you like it,
Yeah.
then you can have 80 people who dislike it, but as long as you're satisfied with what you've done and you write with some sort of confidence, you're going to find your readers. You're going to find people who do really enjoy what you're doing.
Hmm. That's true. What we were talking, I was talking to Daniel Volp, that we're talking about if there's some authors that they pay attention to bad reviews. Like, I want to know the bad reviews because I want to know what I have to improve. Or, and we were saying that I think it's not really like that, because bad review. If you define bad review, I mean, a 1-star review that says, that's trash, that's not a bad review, that's just someone with a lot of free time. But if
Yeah,
you have,
no,
yeah,
I
if you
agree.
have a bad review that says, okay, the book is quite solid, blah blah blah, I liked it, but I don't know, it was a slow, it was something that, then maybe that's different, but just the person that
Mm,
comes to hurt you, it's the same person that will be yelling at someone while driving their car, and they will make everyone upset at their way. So
yeah,
I'm not sure you should even read bad reviews, honestly.
I have learned a lot from negative reviews or
Yes.
even just reviews that they weren't praising it as the best thing ever, but they've given some constructive criticism, and
Yeah.
those are great. Like even though you want people to just oh, it was the greatest thing ever. I have learned a lot from some not so great reviews. And so if you can take it like that, that's
Yeah.
great. But like if you got someone who throws out a 1 star just because it wasn't my cup of tea,
Yeah,
well, that doesn't
exactly.
really help anything. And whatever. It's like whatever.
Yeah.
Moving
It's
on.
like, thank you. That was very useful.
Right.
Yeah. But I think everyone that creates anything, any kind of art or whatever, you're exposed. And as long as you're exposed, you will have people telling you what
Yeah.
they think. So I think that's something that new authors should just make their minds about it. I think so. It's like movies. Do you have movies that have disappointed you so much? You had big expectations?
Oh yeah. I mean, in keeping your expectations realistic, I think
Yes.
when it comes to new writers, I think that's a big one because you go into it and you're expecting that, you know, you're going to write these stories and put out these books and everyone's just going to love it. And you know, that it's not always the case. And you know, I know like for myself when I published my first book, I thought, oh,
Yes.
you know, it's going to be I'm going to sell all these copies. And as an indie writer, not so much. I mean, if
Yeah.
you sell a few a month, sometimes that's as good as it's going to get, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But keeping expectations realistic and just kind of enjoying the ride, and like we were talking about with the reviews, you know, if can take the constructive criticisms or you know just paying
Mhm.
attention to what's going on around you, what other people are saying and doing. Just keep your expectations realistic and just enjoy what you're doing. You know,
Yeah.
I think we've reached a point in indie writing in general, just because it's so oversaturated,
Yeah.
that concentrating less on being the next big thing,
Mhm.
and just being part of a community and doing your thing and just learning as you go all the time, you're going to have a much better time at it and enjoy what you're doing more. Because I
Mm.
see, you know, a lot of writers get burnout, which happens to everybody. I mean, it's
Yeah.
happened to me, but you're able to navigate it better if you're just like, all right, you know what? That's cool.
Yeah.
Let's keep on doing it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think maybe that's a kind of problem when you do something that people love, is that you have to keep doing things. And maybe you have set the expectations of all that audience, like I do amazing things. And maybe it's a handicap, you know, like saying, even if they don't love it as much, maybe, you know, it's like sometimes it happens to me. I make a drawing and I share it, and there's sometimes people love it, like, I don't know. And then I just another one and say, I don't know if to share it because after that one, you know, I set a bar and now I don't want
Yeah.
to share anything else. I don't know if you felt like this.
Oh yeah. No, there's been a couple of times like, you know what? I'm done. Forget
Yeah.
about it. I'm out.
Retire when you're on the top, right?
Exactly.
Yes. I think it's your mind does a lot in your writing career. I have the feeling. Your emotional state, I mean.
Yeah. So having having the right perspective, not just when you're creating, but doing all the other stuff you have to do when it comes to writing, whether it's promotion or all that. I think perspective is very important, and it's
Yeah.
easy to lose track of that perspective because yeah, I mean, you get full of yourself, or you get full of you know the negativity, or you just start concentrating on one aspect more than the other,
Mm.
and trying to keep that perspective and that balance. I think it's super important.
Absolutely. And we in your from your books, mm, what do you think readers should read first? Your comedy, the dark one, the stories?
um, well, I guess it kind of depends on what you're looking for. I think some scary stories, which is my short story collection I put out a couple
Yes.
of years ago. I think that would be a good start. You know, if you want to just kind of dip your toe in it and see what uh, I guess what I'm capable of, because there's a lot of different things going on in there, a lot of different themes.
Yes.
But honestly, I think Baramalum is probably it's one of I think the best as far as my writing goes, but just story wise.
Mhm.
But really, I mean, you can't go wrong with any of
Yeah.
them.
Find you. Where can readers find you?
I am all over the place. I have my website, which
Okay.
is
Mhm.
michaelrcollins.wordpress.com, and that's
Okay.
information for all my where you can get all my books. I'm on Facebook, probably more than anything. You can find me at Mick Collins on Facebook. And then I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok, which I need to do a little more on there, at Mick Wrights.
Yes.
And I think I have a Twitter account that I pretty much ignore. So who
That
knows? I mean,
happens often.
I'm on all the social media sites, but half of them I ignore. So
Yeah, Twitter is not as fun,
yeah, there we go.
right? Okay, then I love talking
Yeah,
to you, but we ran out of time. I was
that
looking
was quick.
forward to talking to you today.
We were able to do this. I know we had to postpone,
I'm
but I'm
so
glad we were
sorry.
able to do it because this was a lot of fun. Hey,
Yes.
things happen. Trust me, I understand. Things happen.
Yeah, we will have to make a new one when you have your next book.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
And hopefully I won't have
Hopefully,
a thunderstorm in here and connection will be better. I'm sorry.
no worries. No worries.
Okay, then thank you so much for being here and for your time.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, then let's talk soon and let's stay in touch. Okay, let me know of all your
Yes, definitely.
projects.
I will. Definitely will.
Okay, then have a lovely day.
You too.
Okay, bye-bye.